The world is marked with a mysterious light that comes from somewhere hard to identify. Welcome to Ostracon, a podcast that translates fragments into the whole from which they came. Today we're talking about the painting Evening Star by William Turner, whose full name was Joseph Mallord William Turner, an English artist who was born in London in 1775 and died in London in 1851. William Turner was a child prodigy who entered the Royal Academy of Arts as young as 14. He spent his life not only as a professor and as a professional draftsman, but traveling extensively, bringing back huge sketchbooks full of images and producing a tremendous amount of work. When he died, he left behind about 500 oil paintings, about 2,000 watercolors, and about 30,000 other sketches and works on paper. Though he amassed a small fortune in his lifetime, he never left his humble beginnings. He was born in Covent Garden, and throughout his life avoided the outward signs of his success. As he grew older, he grew more focused on his art and on its production, and less focused on its exhibition, and a gallery that he ran eventually fell into disrepair. He died of cholera, and the legend is that his last words were, "The sun is God." If true, the statement has a very intriguing double meaning for a man whose art was so affected by light. Turner is known for his incredibly expansive skies, the wild color and fluidity of his painting. Some people claim him to be the actual founder of the Impressionist movement, and undoubtedly his work influenced the later Impressionists in France. We're going to link to the Evening Star below, but also to some of his other amazing works, like The Fighting Temeraire, Slave Ship, Hannibal Crossing the Alps, and others. So if you look below in the comments, you can get a sense of what I mean. He was painting during a unique geological event, the eruption of a volcano that in 1816 filled the skies with so much ash that the year was known as the year without a summer, and it led to spectacular sunsets that were an inspiration for some of his work. Turner is buried in St. Paul's, London, which is something that I hope to talk about in another episode of this podcast. So let me try to describe the feeling of standing in front of William Turner's Evening Star, which is in the National Gallery in London. It's a painting that I've been able to stand in front of multiple times, years apart, at different points in my life, and to contemplate. And it's a painting that requires some contemplation. It does not leap towards you as some of the vigor of his other work. It's very placid. There's a low horizon line, a flat line, about a quarter of the way up the canvas. And you see a young boy walking on a beach at the evening. To the left is the calm sea. To the right, the beach, which looks sort of muddy. The boy's in shorts walking barefoot, and he's holding what looks like a net or basket with a catch of fish or shrimp. A young dog is leaping up near his legs, a small one. It's evening time. Low to the horizon are some hanging on clouds that are lit up a very delicate peach and pink around their fringes, just as you would imagine the piece of an introspective sunset. And they give way to a sky that is so light blue that with the haze of the sea, it is tending to gray. It's the very remains of the day, the gloaming, as poets have called it. And the first evening star is out. Now, the most impactful experience of the painting is that the star is small. It's definitely there. When you find it, it's a heavy dot of white paint, but it's so small in the greatness of the sky. What is much more prevalent is the reflection of the star on the still water. That's the light that leaps out to you. It's a silvery white as opposed to the browns and grays and the fading sunset behind it. On the link that you'll see below, the reflection is not as bright as it looks in person. But I'll add that the star is just as hard to see in person as it is on the image that we've linked to. Even though the star is at the very center of the painting, it is the last thing you're able to find. So we are confronted here with a painting that shows beauty that is ending. The work of the day is done. The boy has in his basket the abundance of nature. He's been fed. The day has been fruitful. The sun is setting, but the sunset is also beautiful. The beach is soft. His feet can feel the earth beneath them. His little dog loves him. He's headed home. There's beauty in all these things. But there's also ending, because the sun has just passed the horizon. Night is coming, and even the peace of the sea we know does not last. And the food that he has, that he's taking home with him, his catch, does not last. There's even a sense where he seems to be looking into his net or his basket to see just how much might be there. We find ourselves in a place of beauty that is both temporal and also transcendent. It is ending, but it lasts. Even though the sun is going down, the star is up in the sky, the first of the stars, bright enough to shine even while the sky is still blue. But there's something especially in the way the star shows itself to us. It is most present in its reflection. It's most visible in the way that its light shines off of the other things in the world around us. It leaves a long track in the water, like the length of the boy's walk home from the shore. It's because we see the trail of light on the gentle water that we know the star is there and look for it. It does not overwhelm us. It does not overcome us. It leaves its light on the things of the world, and these cause a search. And then, if we search, we discover it, very humble, but very intentional, high up in the center of the painting. This may be just exactly the experience of faith. The world is marked with a mysterious light that comes from somewhere hard to identify at first. In the elements of the painting, The beauty of the evening is a form of that light. The peace of the sea, the abundance of nature that the boy has been provided for, the good feeling of his work, of his skill, of his relationship to nature, the sand and the dirt under his bare feet, the sunset, all of them are forms of this light that signals something. But of course, it's not limited to an English coastline from 200 years ago. It's wherever in our lives we may find these elements of beauty, of peace, of provision, of wellness. You can imagine the scent of the sea air in the evening and how healthy it feels. But it's not limited either to the beauty of nature. It can be also the beauty of art, this painting that we're looking at now. It can be the beauty of architecture, the organization of societies, the awe-inspiring realities of existence that are revealed by science, triumphs of the human spirit over situations of oppression. All of these things beautiful. All of them reflecting some source of beauty, something that is in fact beauty itself. Any of us who go through life with our eyes open, looking up, we can live a life overwhelmed with wonder and awe at the things that are around us. So we find these beautiful and awe-inspiring things all around us, all of them reflections of something that actually is beauty. And then we have this other component that all of them are ending. The buildings will not stand. The art will not last. In the painting, the sun is setting. And what is to hold out against that ending? The source of all of these reflections that have caused us to look. It waits for us. It does not overwhelm us. And it can be found, but it is humble. The process in both the painting and in life seems to be to take these reflections as we find them, as we experience them, and to use them to trace back towards a source, to make the move of a search. And the search is rewarded. As Pascal famously said, his faith was the only thing that made sense of the way that he observed the world. As the gospel says, knock and the door is opened. And what we find in the painting and in life is the light of the star that will not leave in the night. I said this painting was an experience of faith because the star is so small. And there can be a strange conflict of being overwhelmed by these reflections of beauty, of wanting their source, even of looking for it, and of feeling disappointed, of being beset with desire, inspiration, longing for fulfillment, and not knowing why or to what purpose. Observing also that we are free, and that this freedom somehow relates to purpose, that we were not made to be slaves, that the purpose does not force us, does not overwhelm us, does not make us choose it, but rather the beauty that we observe compels a move of trust, a move of choice, which is a move of love. Some have said that things are beautiful because they exist for their own sake. and you come to them completely stripped of any self-interest. Some have said that things are beautiful because you recognize in them the power to destroy you. Perhaps they are beautiful because they tell us something about where we come from and what we are meant for. And the heartbreak of it is that all the beautiful things that we can see and touch now are ending. Go back to the phrase, the Son is God. The Son is Christ, God made flesh, light from light, true God from true God. But here, able to be touched, human even unto death. If we are on this path of exuberance and heartbreak, then we are on a path of discovery if we will not give up. And eventually, there, awaiting us, is the humble source of light that made all these reflections, that was there all along. And we, like the boy in the painting, barefoot, in contact with the earth that we are, carry the things that we have found, that we have been given. We carry them home in the light of the evening star.